Hello, my name's Michael Lakin. Today I'm going to paint for you a nymphea or water lily. The first thing we're going to do is apply the first wash of water to the already prepared drawing which is in front of me. I would normally work in season from the real live specimen, but of course when it's out of season we have to make notes and work later in the year. So what I'm going to do first of all is glaze the whole of the plant portrait with water. This seals the paper. So I'm going to do that now so that we can pre-glaze it ready. You need to do all of the flower so that it's nice and even all the way. Even the little sepals here need to be glazed with water. Don't go over the edge because your paint will run into the glaze that you've already put on, and then you'll not get clean edges. They'll be very ragged. So we'll carry on glazing the stem right to the bottom and finish off. When you look at it, if it shines, look at it at an angle. If it shines, it's too wet, and it is too wet, it is shining, so we'll just let that dry. I'm going to now paint the first wash on the flower head and on the stem and on the sepals. So what we do is get the first wash, which is a very thin wash, over the whole image. I'm using a number 6 brush. This is an SAA Gold Round, which is a mixture of synthetic and sable. Paper I'm using is Arches, 140 pounds in weight, or 300 GSM. And I've got it taped to the board. It's good to work on a flat board, slightly at an angle. And I'm using Winsor & Newton paints. What I'm going to mix first of all is a mix of Opera Rose. The flower obviously is a pinky red, and so we'll mix this Opera Rose with some Winsor Red. Just about 50-50, 50% of each, about half, just to get that nice pinky red colour. Now, I can't emphasise enough that this first wash needs to be very, very thin. If not, you'll not be able to move the paint. You need to be able to move the paint so that you're in control and the paint isn't in control. One thing I must tell you is that I'm a right-handed artist, so the light is coming from the top left. If you're left-handed, the light's coming from the top right. And this is very important. You must have one light source. And I'm starting in the darkest area with this first wash, working the form on each of these petals right from the word go and leaving some of the highlights in white virgin paper. So I'm starting doing that now and keeping very neatly to the edge. Don't go over the edge, else obviously the flower petals won't look very crisp at all. They'll look all wavy. Nice strokes, stroke the paper. I've got 2 water pots, one with clear water. So wash your brush into clean water and then get on the edge of that paint very quickly and grade it into the highlight, which is on the left-hand side of the actual individual petal. And work fairly quickly so that it does grade the paint. If you leave it to dry, once you put it on, you'll never move the paint. It will be very difficult. So I'm working on alternate petals as well, because if you work on the petals closest to the one that you've painted, it will run into it. And this, of course, will give you a very uneven edge. So I'll work on this one now and start on the right-hand side, as I've said, the darkest side, with my first wash. Grading it in, wash the brush into the water, just twist it on your tissue and grade it in right to the very end. Don't be afraid if you've not got enough water just to go in the water again and just soften the edge right up to the highlight. So I've worked 2 petals. I'll carry on working round. We can do this one here at the back, so we'll work that in the same way. Don't put too much paint on, just enough to grade, and probably about 1/3 of the width of the actual petal, and then grade up to it. I'm going to work this round. I'll work on the left-hand side now. Keep very close to the sepal, which is this one. Don't go over that because I'm got to do that green because it's not pink. So be very careful to note which are the petals and sepals if you're doing a composite flower or where petals and the sepals work into each other. We can go into this top petal now. Now these are the outside petals, so remember to paint these darker on the left hand side than on the right hand side, because they are being shadowed from the left. So I'll just paint that in. I'll not do the outside, the fold in of the petal, because that will blend into it, and I don't want that little bit on the edge of the fold in to blend in, because it will make it one petal and it won't be concave. So we'll work on this other one now, which is again shaded. It's the inside of the petal, so we can just bring that in there again, grade it in so that it's nice and a nice subtle change in tone. Okay, again we'll work on this one now at the front. Remember, work on the outside, right hand side of the outer petal. So we're replicating what we're doing all the time. And this botanical illustration is a build-up process. You do not go in with one heavy colour or thick colour. You build up with wash after wash after wash. Most important, as I've said, is to keep the water on the edge of the paint when you've actually applied the paint, and grade it out very quickly. And that's the flower head actually done, with a mix of sap green. Just mix a sap green with a little bit of transparent yellow for the sepals, very light green. You can use the same brush and just work these sepals in just the same. There we go. Just get those in so that these have also got that first thin wash, working into the lighter areas and grading it in with water. And we can just work the stem, which is much darker, in the same way. Remember, get water on that edge first, right down to the bottom, and then we can let that dry.